When early 20th century Italian immigrants arrived, their understanding of English was often non-existent. For families from southern Italy, the barrier was even deeper. They primarily understood local regional dialects rather than standard Italian. In Italy, language was a rigid status symbol. Northern Italians were wealthier and spoke dialects closer to the standard form, while Southerners were often derided as cafone, unlettered peasants speaking vulgar corruptions. This northern contempt was often racially motivated, with some social scientists at the time claiming that South represented a primitive and inferior civilization. Consequently, Southern immigrants arrived in America carrying an intense linguistic insecurity. To bridge the gap between their dialects and their new environment, immigrants developed a unique hybrid, Italglish. This patois was far more common than fluency in English and served as the primary tongue for the first generation. It was an amalgam that adapted Southern phonetic habits, like preserving specific vowel endings, to English loanwords. In northeastern enclaves, this sounded like bacazzo for back house or toilet, boyfredo for boyfriend, or gil for girl. The specific flavor of Italglish was shaped by the local languages immigrants encountered. While a watered-down Neapolitan hybrid emerged in the urban centers of the Northeast like New York, other regions developed their own unique blends. In Ybor City, Florida, Italian immigrants spoke a trilingual mix of Italian, Sicilian, English, and Spanish. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, a lack of prestige attached to bilingualism led to even lower rates of language maintenance compared to the East. These little Italies became protective bubbles where families could resist forced assimilation, though it left many with no linguistic home. Their dialects were going extinct both in the US and in an increasingly standardized Italy. The burden of navigating this world often fell to the children, who became the primary translators for their parents. In one of Leonard Covello's classes, a second-generation girl wrote an essay laughing at the realization that her parents hadn't taught her Italian at all, but a localized mix of dialect and Italianized English. But translation could also be a matter of life and death. During the famous Sacco and Vanzetti trial, Nicola Sacco, a Southerner, and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, a Northerner, struggled with a court interpreter whose Neapolitan dialect was sometimes unintelligible to them. Sacco famously cried out to the judge, "The interpreter could not explain things the way I tell it." Whether through comedic misunderstandings or tragic trials, living in translation became the defining subjective experience of the Italian-American journey.